Israel faced war on multiple fronts in 2024, yet somehow ranked as the sixth strongest economy globally according to The Economist, outperforming Germany, the United States, and the United Kingdom. A nation the size of New Jersey, with just 9.3 million people and surrounded by hostile neighbors, has built remarkable economic resilience. Despite existential threats, Israel's tech sector secured over $12 billion in funding and $15.8 billion in M&A activity. What hidden formula allows such extraordinary performance against all odds? Certain small nations have discovered a system for converting limitations into strengths. In this documentary, we'll decode how Israel, Rwanda, the UAE, and Botswana engineered transformations that defy conventional wisdom. The UAE's desert to global hub transformation. Picture the United Arab Emirates in 1971. 7 small emirates united into a new nation, their landscapes dominated by sand dunes and modest coastal settlements. The economy revolved around pearl diving, fishing, and the beginnings of oil production. With fewer than 300,000 inhabitants spread across this desert expanse, the UAE's future seemed predetermined by its harsh geography and limited resources. Dubai, which would later become the Federation's crown jewel, was particularly vulnerable. Unlike Abu Dhabi, Dubai possessed minimal oil reserves, creating an urgent need to diversify its economy from the start. The contrast between the Emirates was stark. Abu Dhabi controlled over 90% of the UAE's oil reserves, while Dubai's reserves were projected to be depleted within decades. The nascent country faced immense infrastructure challenges. In 1971, infrastructure was rudimentary at best. Minimal paved roads, unreliable electricity, and scarce potable water. Most citizens remained engaged in subsistence activities, with education and healthcare systems barely developed. Literacy rates hovered below 20%, and communication infrastructure remained primitive, with international calls requiring booking through operators days in advance. This starting position seemed to confirm the theory of geographic determinism, that a nation's physical environment dictates its development trajectory. By conventional metrics, the UAE appeared destined to remain a peripheral player in global affairs, perhaps becoming moderately wealthy from oil exports, but unlikely to achieve significant international influence. From these humble beginnings, a radical transformation was set in motion. The 1990s marked a critical inflection point when several factors converged to create both existential threats and unprecedented opportunities. Oil prices experienced dramatic volatility, dropping below $10 per barrel in 1998, a stark reminder of resource dependency risks. Simultaneously, regional competitors like Bahrain established themselves as financial hubs, while Qatar began leveraging its natural gas reserves for economic diversification. UAE leadership recognized these warning signs and accelerated transformation efforts that had begun a decade earlier. The establishment of Jebel Ali Free Zone in 1985 created a template for economic diversification, offering foreign companies unprecedented benefits. 100% ownership, zero corporate taxes, and streamlined customs procedures. This model proved so successful that by the late 1990s, the UAE began replicating it across specialized sectors. Dubai Internet City, launched in 1999, created a dedicated ecosystem for technology companies. Dubai Media City followed in 2001, positioning the emirate as a regional center for broadcasting and publishing. These specialized zones attracted global corporations seeking both tax advantages and strategic positioning within emerging Middle Eastern markets. What distinguished the UAE's approach was its comprehensive infrastructure vision. Rather than developing piecemeal, leadership implemented integrated planning that connected these free zones to world-class ports and airports. Dubai's Jebel Ali port, which began operations in 1979 but expanded dramatically in the 1990s, became the largest man-made harbor in the world and a critical node in global shipping networks. The aviation strategy proved equally transformative. Emirates Airline, founded in 1985 with just 2 leased aircraft, received substantial government investment throughout the 1990s. The airline's hub-and-spoke model leveraged Dubai's geographic position at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Africa. By the early 2000s, Emirates had established Dubai as a global connectivity nexus. This exponential growth reflected the success of the Dubai model, creating infrastructure capacity ahead of demand rather than in response to it. While conventional development wisdom cautioned against such speculative investments, the UAE's approach created a self-fulfilling prophecy. Build it, and they will come. Underlying these physical transformations was a deliberate cultivation of political stability and regulatory predictability. The UAE maintained consistent leadership through its federal system of hereditary emirate rulers, providing continuity that neighboring countries often lacked. This political stability translated into consistent economic policies that attracted foreign investors seeking reliability in an often volatile region. The regulatory environment evolved to balance traditional Islamic values with international business norms. The establishment of the Dubai International Financial Center in 2000 exemplified this approach, creating a self-contained legal jurisdiction operating under English common law principles rather than Sharia law. This parallel legal system reassured international financial institutions and accelerated Dubai's emergence as a banking and investment hub. By the early 2000s, economic indicators reflected the success of these strategies. Foreign direct investment increased from $506 million in 1997 to over $10 billion by 2005. The service sector's contribution to GDP grew from approximately 37% in 1990 to over 50% by 2005, signaling successful diversification beyond oil. The 2008 to 2009 global financial crisis temporarily threatened this trajectory when Dubai's debt-fueled development model faced severe liquidity challenges. However, the federation's structure proved resilient, with Abu Dhabi providing financial support that enabled recovery and continued growth. This crisis ultimately strengthened the UAE's economic governance by improving debt management and increasing transparency. Like a phoenix rising from the sands, the UAE transformed itself. Today, it ranks among the world's top 10 nations for soft power, and its business climate ranks second globally for ease of doing business. The UAE's per capita GDP has increased from approximately $2,500 in 1971 to over $43,000 today, placing it among the world's wealthiest nations. This economic transformation has funded dramatic social development, with literacy rates now exceeding 95% and healthcare outcomes matching developed world standards. Life expectancy has increased from 62 years in 1971 to over 78 years today. The UAE has achieved what many resource-rich nations fail to accomplish: meaningful economic diversification. Oil now accounts for less than 30% of GDP, with tourism, financial services, logistics, and real estate driving economic growth. The country's leadership in hosting COP28 demonstrates its evolving role in global climate governance, while investments in Masdar City and solar technology reflect forward-thinking economic planning that positions the UAE at the forefront of the renewable energy revolution.